In Ephesians, he talks about principalities and powers in heavenly places. And that means rulers over humanity.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean they're actually in heaven with God. Heavenly means above. It's a metaphor for ruling over mankind. And ruling over mankind is a lot through imaginations, cultures, thought processes.
Okay.
Are really what rule over mankind. And there's persuasions and so on. So principalities and powers are demonic forces, first of all, that influence cultures, mindsets, sort of persuasions. In 2 Corinthians chapter 10, I think verse 4 and 5, Paul speaks about pulling down every high thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So these were the kinds of things that he was up against in his ministry. And what he's talking about is high thoughts, proud thoughts, any cultural idea, framework that exalts itself against the simplicity of the gospel, the knowledge of God in Jesus Christ. Like in Western culture, it could be things like false science, evolution, which has led Western culture into atheism, and into this idea that humanity is just insignificant, just is a random mistake of evolution. And this is very much a demonic idea to bring meaningless to Western cultures, which today is exhibited in nihilism. This is a pervading cultural influence in the West. Nihilism means everything is just meaningless, and you get high suicide rates, drug usage. It's even led to the great political upheavals in the West, like we see in America today, with demonstrations of transgenders and anti-government, people who think we shouldn't have government rule, we shouldn't have police, things like this. We shouldn't, people shouldn't be punished for crimes, frauds, crimes against children, paedophilia. These people have no sense of meaning in their life. It's a very nihilistic culture. So they want to pull down and destroy everything. What's the point of civilization? What's the point of our nations? They just have a very negative, meaningless view of it all. So they become very destructive. They don't build up. Where on the other hand, you've got the gospel that comes with light and life and imagination and good thoughts about inventiveness, constructive ideas that want to build better systems for their children for the future. And so the gospel is very positive, it's very opposite to meaninglessness. And so Satan has been sowing this meaninglessness into Western society for a long time, to bring it to the point now where it's becoming self-destructive. And but that's a battle we're going to win. Just like Paul talked, he came against principalities and powers in his day. We're coming against them today. The gospel is going to be triumphant again. Amen. Large numbers of people coming to Christ. We're now confronting these philosophies head on, whereas before we were more timid in the West and we sort of retreated, waiting for the rapture. But now we're saying no. We're going to confront these things. We're going to pull them down, and we're going to see God renew our nations. Much more positive outlook. And so, they're principalities and powers. So each of our cultures have different ones, different aspects to them, which Satan comes in and with his mindsets, which get entrenched in human thinking, which lead, so that there's this cultural move away from God and His gospel. So Paul confronted these in his ministry. Anytime he brought the gospel into Roman civilizations, Greek civilizations, very idolatrous, very pagan, sexually just immoral like we have today in the West, and so all these things were stood up against him, to confront his message, and that's spiritual warfare. Is you confronting these cultural issues head on, and they're dangerous. They won't. They're not. This is not just a disagreement. They'll try and kill you. Like we see in the West today, the assassinations galore, imprisonments, false, law cases and things like that. If you come against these mindsets, these false persuasions, then certain powers, media powers, governmental powers, legislative powers, like in Paul's day, even the courts have been corrupted today. They will find fault against you and bring you down. So they're very targeted in who they hit. So it's these principalities and powers. They're not just human. They're dangerous. They can use governments in the wrong ways. But they're demonically inspired. They're very satanic at their core. When you see these great sexual movements started in the West back in the 60s with what we called the hippie movement, free love, fornication was supposed to be celebrated. Before that it was frowned upon. Infidelity in marriage, these things were sort of celebrated. And then it went into homosexuality. And I remember when homosexuality we had pride parades in the 70s and 80s in Australia. And it was very obvious that this was the beginning of something worse. And if you said that in the West, you get targeted. That was called hate speech. Just for declaring what was patently obvious. It's not hatred. It's just, and you could see that once homosexuality was being celebrated, the next one would be pedophilia. So the whole problem is children are at risk here. If families are degraded, children are at risk. And you could also see that this was a violent culture. These people were not just advocating for liberty to do what they wanted. They're eventually going to come against anyone who disagreed with them and take away their liberty. The thing is that the movement, they're not just looking for liberty for themselves to live how they want to live, but they want to shut down and persecute and cancel anyone who doesn't agree with them. So we're not allowed to express our views. If we just express our views, that's hate. No, it's just our view. It's freedom of religion, freedom of faith. So I'm supposed to live out my faith, which means that we live according to the scriptures. The scriptures now are being banned in certain places as hate speech. So these are principalities and powers that do this. It's very demonically inspired, but using people that are filled with hatred and, as I said, nihilism. They have no meaning in life except to destroy everything. Destroy traditions of morality, traditions of faith, traditions of our civilizations, things like that, just to see the whole thing crumble. And that's the nature of it. So there's a big move against it today in culture in the West. It's hard, it's slow, but we're going to win. But then you get principalities and powers. They're the demonic ones. You also get them in government. Principalities and powers can refer to human leaders. And the Bible says in Ephesians chapter 3, I think it is verse 9 and 10, that God predestined the church to reveal his wisdom to the principalities and powers. So I think one of the things that's saying is we're to renew our governments. The governments of our nations change as they see the church reflect the will of God, the image of God. But if the church is not doing it, if we're misstepping and if we're in greed and these sorts of things, if we're reflecting the fallenness of our governments, then they're not going to learn from us. We have to reflect the image of God. So, judgment starts in the house of God. It all starts in the church.